Welcome back to a short week of the Blue Review. Got Clinton Yates over there, Greg Bergman here. Blue Review is presented by Los Angeles International Airport, where changes are arriving daily to help reduce traffic, save travelers time, and transform the travel experience. Couple things from this weekend, Clinton. Dodgers, while they lost 2 of 3 to the Rays, they actually didn't play too terribly. And I also at some point want to get into the difference between the bullpen and the starting rotation.
Okay. Well, they've handled the Nationals well.
Last night, yeah.
Last night. Look, I think this team is hitting their stride at a point where you've got to figure out who you are. The biggest bright spot of this entire thing, I think, has been, maybe not the biggest, but JD Martinez, we've talked about him, has turned into a guy, again, every time he hits the ball hard, you think it might go out of the yard. And oftentimes it does. The other stat I wanted to note here, which is incredible to me, is that Freddie Freeman has 17 doubles in May. That's the most doubles by any Dodger ever. Like, that dude is hitting the ball hard. And for me, that's, we wondered who was going to be the leader of this team as far as what the vocal leader was going to be, who was going to be the offensive spark. At this stage of the game, to me, it's Freeman. I know that JD is going hard. I know that other guys are batting well, but Freddie Freeman is such a consistent player right now. I think you've got to take a lot of pride in that as a ball club.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is what he does too. Like I remember last year, that was the biggest thing that you noticed about him was that just double. That's like he keeps guys moving. It's everything that we're talking about. The runs manufactured is very much his jam, right? So it's which is nice to see. Having somebody do that that's not just swinging away for the fences constantly is great. If he does that, like I don't care how many home runs he hit. If he's going to keep bringing dudes around and keeping guys moving. Love it. And JD Martinez, the fact that this dude is just dingers. This is what he does now. And he's been great at it. What a huge pickup he's been. I really loved it. Also, Bobby Miller last night. Can we start talking about him for just a moment?
Okay, yeah.
Bobby Miller,
now let's
2 in a row.
Right. Now let's this is what I'm saying here. Like we said earlier, we're not going to get too jumpy about how we rate guys early in their situations because they came up under duress. 2 in a row is good. 2 in a row is what we want it to be. You know what I mean? Let's not get crazy and jump on the guy and all of a sudden tell everybody he's next Vita Blue. You know what I mean? That's not necessarily what's going on here, So my point is that I think he's been the better of the 2 call-ups between him and Gavin Stone. And if anybody's going back down, it will not be him, is I think how that one goes. Bobby's earned the right to stay up, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. He's looked really, really good. He's keeping his runs down. He's keeping his hits down. He's throwing that, changing up his pitches. He got those 5 different pitches that we talked about the last time. But Gavin Stone is a dude that is absolutely going to go down. I still have faith that he's going to do just fine, but he is not helping out the bullpen at all by going only 2 innings, 3 innings. The guy is just not getting it done, and he's getting hit pretty hard. And the problem now is that over the last, week and a half, 2 weeks, that the bullpen is throwing more innings than the starting pitching. And that can't be sustainable.
It's not sustainable, but as importantly, it's a hard way to win. You know what I mean? Like even if it were sustainable, so to speak, like if you had the arms in the bullpen and you didn't have the availability to try to figure it out, which they kind of don't, like it's a very difficult way to try to manage a game. It's a very difficult way to try to match up. It's just, it creates so much more work just in terms of what you have to do game to game from a strategy standpoint. So it's suboptimal from a man management, approach because it's, you don't want to have to do that. And it's just harder to do. It's harder to win.
Yeah, absolutely. And luckily there's a guy, Daniel Hudson is apparently he says he's turned a corner on his knee. So hopefully that means that he could be coming back kind of soon. He would be a huge, huge piece to this bullpen.
Okay.
And let a few guys rest.
Yeah, that's a name I've heard in a lot of places in the last couple seasons in the big league. So yeah, hopefully, but I don't know.
He's been with the Dodgers for the last couple. I mean, he was with the Nationals for a little while, especially during the run where you and I met. Actually, he was part of that whole thing.
Excellent segue, Greg.
You like that
segue?
No, that was just for you.
We did not rehearse that, kiddos. All right. Well, since you brought it up, I think about this every time the Nationals come to Dodger Stadium because the first time I met you on Greg Bergman was in the auxiliary press box in left field at Dodger Stadium for Nats Dodgers. That would have been the DS? CS?
Yes, it was the DS. It was the
DS. and we hung out a bunch there. That series, it ended not so well for you, but it ended great for me. And we've been friends ever since. So what do you remember most from that day?
Oh, this is one of my favorite stories about you, Clinton. Actually, so what I remember most about that is that when we were watching, so the Dodgers were in Game 5, were up. It was something like 3-1. I don't remember the exact score, but they were up, and they were going into like the 8th inning, 7th, 8th inning, and Clayton Kershaw comes out to the mound. Now we're not in the auxiliary press box anymore. Now we're in the main press box.
Tensions are high.
Yeah, so I'm watching directly over home plate, and you are in the other room inside watching on a TV because you don't want to be a part of everything that's going out there. And then all of a sudden, Anthony Rendon hits a home run. All of a sudden, I look behind me, and who comes strolling up behind me? Clinton Yates comes just randomly coming up behind me and just being like, "Oh, hey, what's going on over here? There's something happening." And then Juan Soto hits a home run. It's like, "Oh, now we're just gonna start switching places. You're gonna start moving forward. I'm gonna start moving back." And at that point, I found out who you were.
Yes, but here's the deal, man. There's a lot of playoff games that I go to where the stress, even not as a person rooting for the team in that moment. And to be clear, since those days have passed, I don't live in DC anymore. The Nats are the team of my youth. I am not, game to game with that team anymore. That was a moment in my life where I was very into that team because I was covering them and they had gotten big over the time that I had been a young adult. But there were times when I would cover other playoff games that were too stressful for me. You know what I mean? I'd be watching them, I'm like, I'm just going to go watch this on TV, because it's so intense. And so in that particular case, I was like, I can't do this right now. There was just too much. Plaschke was there, people I'd heard and looked up to my whole life. I didn't live here at that point. That's the thing to remember. You know what I mean? I'm out of town. And so what an intense moment. They went on to win it later that fall, obviously. But yeah, that's how me and corporate Greg Bergman.
That was, and now ever since then, we've been best buddies. Now we're doing Blue Review together. So
you what?
It works out well. All right. And that's going to do it for this Blue Review. Greg Bergman, Big CY, thank you to LAX, and we'll see you tomorrow.